The Championship is stacked with teams that are trying to get to the Premier League, whether that be through the automatics or just to sneak into the playoffs. Well, you can see the table next to me. It is fascinating with so many teams involved. So let's talk about it and see what the bookies think will happen come the end of the season. Before we get into this, do make sure to drop a like. We'll go for 200 likes, and do make sure to hit that red subscribe button. 65% of viewers aren't subscribed, so hit the red subscribe button down below and turn on notifications. Before we go on to have a look at what the bookies think will happen come the end of the season, this is how the table looks now, and I'd go as far as to say even down in 15th and 16th teams do have a chance of getting there. Yes, obviously their chance is less likely to get into the top 6 than teams that are currently in the top 10, let's say, but let's see what the bookies think. Are their predictions slightly different to how the table looks now? Let's start with 14th place Queen's Park Rangers. QPR currently sit 13th in the table, but the bookies don't think they're actually going to get in there come the end of the season. They've actually gone for QPR to finish one place lower than they currently are in the table. QPR come into this video on a bit of a bad run. They haven't won since the 17th of December, but it's not been all bad. It's draws that are killing them. They've drawn so many games. The fact that Blackburn Rovers have lost 3 more games than QPR and sit in that top 6 just goes to show that draws are killing teams like Queen's Park Rangers, a team that I think have the capability and the potential to get in there, but the bookies don't think they will come the end of the season. In 13th place, Preston North End. I've got to say, when I did the research for this video, I think this is probably the harshest selection from the bookmakers. The fact that they think Preston will finish in the bottom half just is really harsh in my opinion. Preston are only currently 2 points off that top 6, and although they could do with improvement in some areas, maybe the home form in particular, on the road they're really good, and I've always thought they're quite a solid outfit. They did get back to winning ways away at Birmingham City last time, and for the bookies to put them 13th, I think it's quite harsh. I think they could actually finish in the top 8 at the end of the season. And then in 12th place is my team, Coventry City. Coventry did finish 12th last season, and at the time of this video we currently sit 15th, and we are moving away from the top 6. This could go any way at the moment. The way we're playing and the results we've been pulling in, it wouldn't surprise me if Coventry finished lower than 12th at the moment. However, if you try and look at some of the positives, we have got some tough games out the way. January transfer window is still in progress, so we could still bring in players to bolster that paper thin squad at the moment. At this moment in time, I've got to say 12th seems like a bit of a compliment the way Coventry City are going. However, we do have a game in hand, and if we win that, things might look a bit better for Coventry City. And as I say, there's easier games coming. With Coventry City, I do think we need to improve at the back. We are really missing Mukfadzin at the moment, in my opinion, and we've currently only got one out-and-out goal scorer in Victor Gyökeres. We need to add some more attacking options, in my opinion. On to the next couple of clubs. We have Sunderland, Blackburn and Swansea. Quite interesting from the bookies here. Sunderland, once again, I think the bookies are being quite harsh here. They are actually only currently 1 point off that top 6, and what a great result it was to take down Middlesbrough 2-0 in their most recent fixture. In my opinion, I do think Sunderland will at least cement a top 10 place the way they are going, but I think the bookies are taking into account it's their first season in the Championship. Will the second half of the season be more difficult than the first half? Maybe, but I think they've been playing really well. They've got good options going forward. Tony Mowbray is experienced at this level, so I think 11th is quite harsh from the bookies, but it is also crammed in the table that 7th place could finish ahead of 11th by about 2 points come the end of the season. On to 10th, which is Blackburn Rovers. This is the most notable jump of the video. You can see Blackburn have been pushed down 6 places by the bookmakers. You can look at it 2 ways. Blackburn Rovers are certainly not in the same form as teams like Middlesbrough, Norwich and West Brom, but to push them down 6 places with less than 20 games of the season to go is quite harsh. Blackburn have got to keep churning out around 1.5 points per game, which they were doing when they were winning and losing, and it could just keep them in there. If they get to about 70-71 points, that could just cement them 6th place this season. They did get their first draw against Bristol City, we must mention, at the weekend just gone. Swansea City are next in 9th place. Swansea City are looking pretty good at the moment. With 7 points in their last 4 league games, they now currently find themselves just 3 points off that top 6. It's so crammed. Swansea want to be one of those teams that just jump in there at the end. The bookies have them 9th, which I think is a reasonably fair prediction. I do see Swansea as that team that are going to keep it going till the wire. Can Russell Martin and his possession-based football just about get their way into the top 6 come the end of this? We'll wait and see. On to the next 3 teams, and this is hilarious. The bookies can't make their mind up. We have a tie for 6th place between Middlesbrough, Luton and Watford. Most bookmakers have these on similar odds to get into that top 6 come the end of the season, which I think is quite fascinating. We'll start with Watford, who are actually currently in 3rd place. They are a good team with great quality and realistically should be that team to challenge the top 2 this season, but I think it's a case of just wrapping up the top 6 would be good enough considering how their season's been so far. So many inconsistent results. That most recent draw 1-1 with Rotherham isn't a disaster, but quite a few results like that this season piled on top of each other will just take your chances of a top 2 away from you. Luton Town are another team worth mentioning. They're right in that mix. They did just get in there at the end of last season, and I think they might at the end of this season. Luton Town currently find themselves 7th, outside the top 6 by 1 goal difference, and their game in hand is against Millwall, who are currently 8th. Really fascinating stuff there. Gotta say though, Luton Town do look very good under Rob Edwards. They've got a good team and they're going in the right direction. And as for Middlesbrough, they've been fantastic under Michael Carrick. Yes, their most recent game against Sunderland was a very disappointing defeat, but it's the Championship. Everyone does beat everyone at some point in this division, and if anything, I think they could be one of the teams to finish in 3rd or 4th and wrap up the playoffs quite comfortably come the end. Their XG has always been good this season. Even when they were down the bottom end at the start of the season, their expected goals was really strong. I think with players like Akpom and Crooks, you've got good options going forwards. I think Middlesbrough will make the top 6. The bookies have them to finish 6th at the moment. On to the next 3 teams then. The bookmakers have Millwall in 5th, Norwich in 4th, and West Bromwich Albion in 3rd. Let's start with Millwall then, who we know over the last couple of years have been knocking on that door to get into the Championship playoffs. And I've got to say, at the start of this season, Millwall were my little wild card to get into 6th place come the end of the season. I think they will do it, and the bookies have them currently 5th. At the time of this video, they've only conceded 1 goal in their last 5 games. They've got a really solid defence, and I think Millwall have actually been quite good at home and on the road this season. You put everything together at Millwall and you've got really good continuity, a manager who knows what he's doing, players that want to work hard for the club, and a really passionate fan base behind them. I think Millwall will make the top 6, and I've got to say, it would be great to see Millwall in the Premier League. Up next is Norwich City in 4th place. They have finally started to turn things around. Only 2 games in to David Wagner's revolution, and they are shooting themselves back into that playoff picture. They probably have left it too late to get into the top 2. It's not impossible, but realistically at this point in time, Norwich will probably be happy with just the top 6. But I've got to say, when I saw them in person at Coventry this weekend just gone, they were so good going forwards. Maybe not perfect at the back, maybe that's their weakness this season because they had a couple of mistakes in them, but God, they are one of the best Championship attacks in the league. They scored 7 against my team Coventry this season, 3 at their place, 4 at our place. They are starting to turn things around. 4-0 at Preston, 4-2 at Coventry, really good results. Can Norwich keep it up? Because at this rate, they will make the top 6. In 3rd place are West Bromwich Albion, so the bookies think they'll finish the highest out of all these teams that are cut adrift of that top 2. And I've got to say, if anyone was to challenge the top 2, maybe it would be West Brom, but it does look like an insurmountable gap at this moment in time. Got to say though, West Brom fans will be more than delighted to make the top 6, considering how poor the start to the season was under Steve Bruce. The new manager just gets that club. They're pulling out some good results. They're playing some really good football as well. I thought they were unfortunate not to get something at Burnley, considering they were just a matter of minutes away from a 1-1 draw. But despite the defeat, it does go to show how far they've come under Corberan. West Bromwich Albion to finish 3rd from the bookmakers, and I wouldn't really disagree with that one. On to the final top 2 then, and it's no surprise, Sheffield United in 2nd place, Burnley in 1st. It's been another good weekend for the Blades at Sheffield United. They picked up a 1-0 win against Hull City on the Friday night, and despite Burnley winning, which you might not think is great for them, they did beat West Brom, which is really good for Sheffield United, cementing a top 2 place this season. Their gap over 3rd place at this moment in time is 13 points. They're just such a good team. I can't see them messing it up from here. Sheffield United in 2nd place is a pretty fair prediction from the bookies. And obviously with Burnley in 1st place, you can't really argue with this one. The only team that could knock them off their perch is Sheffield United, but at this moment in time, you've got to say Burnley do look favourites to win the league. They've just been so good. I've been thinking for a long time this season, when will that poor run come? Because every team in the Championship does go on a poor run at some point, but they've been pulling out some great wins. They beat my team Coventry 1-0 just over a week ago now, and they were patient in how they won that game. They've just beaten high-flying West Bromwich Albion at the moment, so Burnley just continue to beat some of the top teams in this division, and they've got so much quality and such good squad depth. Got to say, Vincent Kompany is doing a fantastic job. Burnley are tipped to win the league, and no one's going to argue with that. So then, guys, that wraps up the bookies' predictions for the top half of the Championship come the end of the season. Let me know if you agree or disagree with what the bookmakers think at this moment in time. Do make sure to hit that like button, and if you haven't already, do hit the red subscribe button down below for more Championship content. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.